Our tour will start in Africa, the second largest continent in the world. So much to say about this continent with so little time. This camel tribesman in Ethiopia let us know that life is simple but precious with every breath one takes. Our next stop will be in Barcelona, Spain. We are seeing a couple of works mastered by Antoni Gaudí, the greatest architect of all times during the 18th to the early 1900s. On to Washington, D.C., across the Pacific with a stop in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. represents the United States of America. Some of the greatest Smithsonians and museums in the world reside here. From Washington, now south to Florida, where we will stop at the Everglades National Park, the largest subtropical wilderness in the United States. Plays a very important part in the ecosystem. Texas spring flowers and the bluebonnets are as beautiful as one will ever find throughout Texas. On to San Antonio and the Riverwalk to tour the 5 Spanish colonial missions on the river. From the Alamo, one can bike to the remaining 4 other missions dating back early 1700s. From Texas, we're heading westward, and westward we go to White Sands, New Mexico, with 275 square miles of gypsum sand. White Sands is a natural geology wonder dating back some 280 million years. Now, from White Sands, we will head due north to Cimarron, New Mexico, where we'll find this beautiful buck antelope in a field of sunflowers. In Cimarron, we visit a Western music performance. At the Philmont Scout Ranch, this beautiful Western entertainer from Utah was participant in the annual Cimarron Cowboy Music and Poetry event. From here, we're heading north on to Colorado. The wild horses supposedly date back to those brought by the Spanish explorers in the late 1500s through the 1600s. From here, we're headed to, where else? Cripple Creek and Victor. Open pit gold mining continues in Victor, Colorado to this day. The massive size of this crater continues to deliver gold to its investors. Old mining structures and elevators make for memorable photos. From Cripple Creek and Victor, now we will head southeast into the Comanche grasslands and the Purgatoire River Canyonlands. From here, a short distance, within the Purgatoire River Canyonlands, rock art prevails, hidden in remote canyon walls in southeast Colorado. The buffalo and deer and rock art are a representation of how the Native Americans depended upon them for livelihood. While in this area, we will visit Bent's old fort in La Junta, Colorado. The fort was reconstructed of the 1840 adobe fur trading post of the Santa Fe Trail. Now, as we ventured upstairs in the fort, we find a frontierman shooting pool. Yes, even in the 1840s, pool shooting was a way to spend some leisurely time on the open frontier. Bent's old fort is not a place to miss when in southern Colorado. From here, we're headed west across the Rocky Mountains down into Telluride. This beautiful scene I call my watercolor was taken around the mountain range of Telluride. From Telluride, we are headed to Lake City. The beehive coke oven symbolizes a rich history of mining ore. Lake City is surrounded by the San Juan Wilderness Range. As the big Rocky Mountain elk are bugling, the fall leaves are changing to beautiful gold. The scene was taken in southern Colorado near the town of Stonewall. Beautiful butterflies can be found throughout Colorado, and this painted lady appeared on my shrubbery one morning. From Colorado, we're headed west and southwest. We are headed southwest to Arizona, where I will make a stop in Tucson. The Saguaro National Park east and west offer plenty of touring and hiking opportunities. While in Old Tucson, we will visit Mission San Javier, which is a National Historic Landmark. The mission was founded in 1692, with the current church built in 1783. From here, we're headed north out of Tucson, and we're headed where but to Lake Havasu, Arizona. The bridge was bought on April 18th, 1968 for a winning bid of $2.4 million. From Lake Havasu, we're headed north, a short distance, where else but to the Grand Canyon National Park. There are trails that lead down to the bottom of the canyon. The 8-mile or the 10-mile trail can be taken to the Phantom Ranch on the Colorado River. The National Park Service maintains the north and south rims, being some 10 miles across the canyon. From the Grand Canyon, we're headed east across the state of Arizona, and we will be making our next stop at Canyon de Chelly. The monument encompasses some 84,000 acres of land with a north and south touring rim. Next, we will head up to one of the canyons where we will see the Spider Rock spire towers some 800 feet above the ground. Ancient ruins of the Anasazi or ancestral pueblos. Archaeologists believe that people lived here as far back as 5,000 years ago. Canyon de Chelly is considered the longest continuously lived place in North America. From Canyon de Chelly, traveling west across the Navajo Nation, we arrive at the Navajo National Park, the Tatacan Cliff Dwellings. There are 3 large pueblos going back to the 13th centuries, located between canyon walls. From here, we continue to head west, and we are headed to Lake Powell, Arizona, on the Colorado River. But besides the river, there are other things to see and do. You are looking at what I call God's creation, a swirl of pink. The pinky sandstone and the curvatures within the slot canyons present amazing photo scenes. While in the area, one shall not miss Glen Canyon Dam tour, also visit Horseshoe Bend and Rainbow Bridge. From Lake Powell, we will be visiting as we head east to Monument Valley, Arizona, in the very northern section of Arizona. This is what I call God's country within the Navajo Nation and a photographer's dream. If one is lucky to be there after or during a rain, or when the clouds are draping the beautiful buttes. Some of the buttes rise between 400 to 1,000 feet. From Monument Valley, we're headed northwest, and we shall enter into the state of Utah. Bryce Canyon National Park. Bryce is one of the most beautiful places that I have ever visited, and it's fairyland to me. On a high plateau, one will look down to the amphitheaters, filled with beautiful hoodoos, irregular columns of rocks, and spires. It's a geological wonder of the world. From Bryce Canyon, we head west through the southern part of Utah. The next stop will be Kodachrome, Basin State Park, Utah. At Kodachrome, one will admire the beautiful red and white spires and the landscape that surround the area. From Kodachrome, we continue west, and we will enter into the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. Here one will see sandstone formations at Devil's Gardens, amazing cliffs, canyons, terraces, and plateaus, natural bridges, slot canyons, arches, and so much more to see in this area. Between Bryce and across Escalante, one will be on one of the most beautiful roads, and that is Scenic Byway 12. From Escalante, we will head north in Utah to where else? Into the Canyonlands, in Canyonlands National Park, where we'll make a stop at Mesa Arch. Mesa Arch, another beautiful earth formation that looks over miles and upon miles of Utah's Canyonlands. about 527 square miles of area. From Mesa Arch, we will continue our trip northward into Arches National Park. North to Moab, Utah, and to Arches National Park. Arches has some over 2,000 stone arches, but the most popular and most visited is Delicate Arch. Delicate Arch stands 46 feet high and 32 feet wide. From Arches, we will head west across Nevada and barely entering into California. There, we will visit Death Valley National Park. But beware, as it also the hottest and driest of the national parks. Ideal times to visit is between October to April. As we're seeing here, a rusty old car. It would not have been a pleasant experience. From Death Valley, we're continuing west, and where else but to Big Sur, State Route 1 in California. Although State Route 1 goes on for some 655 miles along the coast of California, my favorite segment is from Santa Barbara to Carmel, about 225 miles. My last photo, and definitely one of my favorites, is titled Breakers at My Feet. I hope you have enjoyed touring with me today. Please visit my website at www.2gunspublishing for my published books or for email correspondence. All photography is copyrighted. 2020 B. Silva.